So this video is about the long I diphthong. Um, First of all, diphthong is a Greek word which means literally two sounds. So a diphthong is comprised of two vowel sounds in a sequence. You can't really blend two vowels together because you only have one set of vocal cords and one mouth, one throat, one tongue, so you can only make one vowel sound at a time, but you can put vowel sounds in a quick sequence, which is what you have with A. And when you're young, in first grade, you're taught that we have five vowels, A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y. And you're deceived into believing that A is one sound by two things. Number one, it's so smooth that your brain doesn't readily detect it as two sounds. Secondly, you're given one letter, and so you naturally assume that one letter means one sound, right? Well, the I diphthong, and this isn't really important because we don't have words in the English language that are differentiated in meaning by the I sound, whether it's one type of I sound or another, because this is the secret that nobody knows. Not even the university professors. Nobody seems to know this. The university trained phoneticists, or they call themselves phonologists, whatever, phoneticians. Nobody seems to understand that there are two I diphthongs. And I'm just going to come out at the top straight away and tell you that the first one is I, which involves dropping the jaw quite a bit when you say I. And then the second one is I, which sounds like an Australian or something, version of I. And you use I all the time, but you may not realize it. So to help us understand, this is what helped me, and it can help anyone, understand what the two vowels, what the two I diphthongs are. You can take the word fawn, like a baby deer, or you can also take dawn, like the start of the morning, before sunrise, or as the sun's coming up over the horizon, you get dawn, the beginning of the new day. D-A-W-N. So what we want to do is take the daw, the D-A-W, and move it to the left and create a space between daw and un, right? And in that space, you're going to drop a long E sound, E, because that doesn't change. That's the second vowel in the diphthong, and that is unchanged between the two I diphthongs. So you've got dawn, dawn, dawn. Now put the E in there. Dine, 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 dine. We're going to dine at the diner, right? We're going to dine at the dining table. You've got dine now, D-I-N-E. So that just proves, and you only need your ears to do this, and you need to slow down the sound. As you pronounce it, slow it down, slow it down, slow it down. Now listen with your ears. Okay, now the other word is nut. Nut, nut. So think about not and nut. Not, nut, not, nut, not, nut. I'm assuming that you all can hear the difference between those two words, and you know that not is N-O-T and nut is N-U-T, right? Okay, well, we're going to, again, take the N-U, which is the N, push that to the left. So now you've got a space between the N and the T, right? And we're going to drop a long E in there again. So you have nut, nut, nut. Now drop in the long E, night, 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 bike, fight, like, right. The list goes on and on. So you're saying I all the time. Bite, night, nigh, nigh, I. Dawn, die, die, dike, dike, die, 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 die. I, 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 I. If you can't hear that difference with your ears, okay, you don't need to go to a university. You don't need to read, 500 books on phonology and memorize every one of them. You can just use your ears and you hear that there are two different long I diphthongs. The only reason I bring this up is just because these university trained phonologists come after me, because I'm working on this 7M alphabet and spelling system that I believe is pretty much finished. The letters aren't quite what I want them to be because I have to work with nearest matches that I can find in the Unicode superset, and I really need to customize some of these letters until they look the way I want them to look, and I can't do that quite yet. So, I mean, there's a lot of work left to be done, but in terms of which letters need to be in the alphabet and what sounds they stand for, etc., I got that all worked out. There's very little, unless somebody can actually prove to me that I'm wrong about something, and so far they can't. They like to complain, they like to criticize because it looks different. But anyway, I deal with these people on occasion, and I'm trying to get them to understand that just because you've been to university and you've got all this knowledge in your head, you can think of that also as programming. You're a programmed dupe, right? You're a university stooge, and you don't realize it because you think that everything you've learned is absolutely accurate. Otherwise, it wouldn't be in your textbook. And you have this sort of normalcy bias. It's like, so somebody writes a textbook and they've got something wrong. And somebody comes up later on and says, hey, this is wrong. And the response they get from some middle manager, who happens to be their boss probably is, oh, no, it can't be wrong. It wouldn't have been on the books for 3 years if it was wrong. So then it goes another 3 years, and eventually it's 10 years, and somebody comes up 10 years later and says, hey, this is wrong. And they get the same response, oh, it can't be wrong. It's been on the books for 10 years. And the reason it's been on the books for 10 years is because everybody who came up before was told, well, it's been on the books for a year now. It's 12 months. It would have been fixed by now if it was wrong. And surely the likes of you isn't qualified to tell anybody that it's wrong. And I'm scared. I'm just a middle manager. I don't want to talk to my bosses. And if I believe you, I'm going to have to take this to the higher ups, and I don't want to do that. And so, but there is this reasoning that because something has been a certain way for a long period of time, that somehow that length of time, that just simple time passage, gives it more credibility than it used to have when it started out. It's yogurt brained thinking. I keep dealing with these university phonologists, and they expect, well, the only person who's qualified to correct the alphabet and or make any corrections about phonology is somebody who's been through the system and has learned everything there is to know and really asserted themselves as the foremost expert in the field. And then maybe I can believe them when they say that this or that is wrong. Well, the truth is most of the people who come up through the system are just going to be more programmed dupes. So anyway, that's the I diphthong. It's two different diphthongs in the way that most people use it in Britain and America. General American English, British RP English, they all do this. They all do the I versus I. And once you learn to recognize it, it's like riding a bicycle. Then you start to recognize it all the time. It's like it, just becomes this glaring um, zit in the middle of somebody's face or something. Uh, it's just that you never learned to recognize that there were two different long I diphthongs in the past. So I guess that's all I have to say about that.